We as Jewish people, many of us, most of us, are descendants from people who were tortured, murdered in the Holocaust, and some of them who survived. We know what pain is. We don't want to see pain happen to anyone. And therefore, we stand up and we say no. This occupation has to stop. This genocide has to stop.
I think as long as the occupation persists, the Palestinians are going to resist.
So that resistance, the attack involved killing a large number of Israeli civilians. People have compared the Hamas attack on Israel to the Holocaust. What do you make of this comparison?
What Hamas did pales in comparison. It's hard to believe anybody would make that argument, right? Hardly any compared to the number that died, at the hands of the Germans. I mean, it's just no parallel at all.
Shortly after receiving the order to relocate into the ghettos, the Jews were forced to quickly pack their entire lives into a number of suitcases and to set off into the unknown. They had to leave behind most of their property and could only take a small number of objects with them. Some were closed ghettos surrounded by fences or a wall, with gates guarded by the German police or the local Polish police. The residents of these ghettos were not allowed to leave the ghetto area unless they were authorized to work outside under supervision. The ghettos created subhuman living conditions that eroded all aspects of life of the Jewish population that was crowded into them. The ghetto was severely overpopulated. Extreme overcrowding, together with the poor sanitary conditions, led in many places to a massive death toll. The ghettos suffered from a severe lack of water and from deficient sewage systems. Large piles of trash filled the streets, and diseases such as tuberculosis, typhus, and dysentery spread quickly. In addition, there was a constant lack of medication. Since in most of the ghettos, the Jewish population was cut off from its surroundings and from sources of income, Jews were almost totally dependent on the daily food allotments provided by the German authorities. The food was distributed in accordance with racist Nazi policies, and as a result, one of the leading causes of mortality was a lack of nutrition. The Germans provided the ghetto's inhabitants with meager amounts of low-quality food as part of a policy of intentional starvation. The lack of food led to tensions between the ghetto residents as theft of foodstuffs became widespread. At the same time, in some ghettos, food was smuggled in from the Aryan side, whereby the ghettos were able to continue existing. Smuggling was undertaken both by private people, adults as well as children, and by criminal organizations that were active in some of the ghettos. Children played an important part in smuggling activities, as they were able to fit through narrow passages. Starvation was widespread. The subhuman conditions created by the Germans in the ghettos were severely traumatizing for individuals and eroded the family and community structure.
It sickens me and it disgusts me, and I tell you, however much it disgusted me before I came here, my ancestors were burned alive and were massacred and endured pogroms and expulsions for centuries because they held fast to their faith in the European countries. A secular, independent secular entity comes and takes the land, uses the fragile situation of Jewish people after the Holocaust to stamp it as a safe haven, and then they basically use it to create such a horrific extent of carnage which is affecting Jewish and Palestinian people in the entire world. It's ridiculous. This is such a grotesque exploitation of the meaning of self-defense.
I am an American Hasidic Jew. My heart is shattered over the loss of so much innocent life in this ongoing war. It pains me to the very core how all of this is carried out in the name of Jewish people. Whoever I know feels the same. We want peace. We have no nationalistic aspirations in the Holy Land, but only want everyone to live in peace. Jews live in the Holy Land for centuries before Zionism in harmony with their Muslim neighbors. May God uplift the broken, heal the injured, free the hostages, and finally bring upon peace to his world.